What if a single land held every landscape a human heart could yearn for? France is a living storybook, woven from whispered secrets. Beyond the icons, a deeper France waits. This journey moves through feelings: awe before enduring stone, peace in a sun-drenched field. The silence in an ancient cloister holds the breath of monks from 1,000 years past. Each coastal wind carries the sighs of generations gazing toward the horizon. In corners, the air feels thick with old magic, where local tales blur into deeper truths. To travel here is to dialogue with permanence. The allure lies in what is suggested, the story half told by a weathered gargoyle, the legacy baked into bread. In these subtle impressions, geography becomes myth. From halls where philosophers shaped the modern mind, to hills where leisure was perfected, it offers a stage for the soul. Listen and discover what it means to wander through a living legend. Roussillon rises from the earth like a forgotten castle of color. But this crimson ground whispers secrets far older than any village. Centuries ago, a beautiful maiden named Sermonde loved the troubadour Guillaume. When her jealous lord murdered him, her dying heartbreak stained the cliffs red. Listen to the wind, and you might still hear her lament. Yet the true tale is written deeper, in mineral veins from vanished ancient seas. Later, men came for war. The Cathars made their final stand in these hills, their faith crushed between stone and sword. Their defiance seems etched into the silent ravines. Artists followed, chasing the impossible light, seeing a furnace of inspiration. The ochre miners, true alchemists, could read the strata like pages, extracting fortunes. Now, only ghosts of their picks echo. To walk here is to tread upon a colossal palette, where nature is the painter and time the brush. Every path tells of erosion, of slow collapse, and beauty born from decay. The landscape remembers everything, even what history has chosen to forget. This concentric village is a fortress in time, its very layout a silent echo of ancient defense. But within these colorful walls, older shadows linger, whispering of a time when this land was a prize fought over with iron and blood. Centuries ago, a mighty conflict, a war of succession that shattered empires, saw these very lanes run red. The cheerful squares turned to grim strongholds. The wind through these arches carries more than the scent of grapes. It carries the faded echoes of clashing swords and the desperate cries of those who defended their homes stone by stone. Yet from such strife, beauty is often born anew, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. They say the spirit of a pope, born from this very earth long ago, still walks the lanes, a gentle guardian watching over the vineyards his family once tended. Perhaps he walks to remember the humble beginnings before the world called him holy. Or perhaps to soothe the older, fiercer ghosts that sleep beneath the geraniums. Here, history is not a page in a book, but a presence you feel in the cool shadow of an ancient wall. A story waiting in the silence between your footsteps. Carcassonne's silhouette is a promise etched in stone. Centuries ago, a siege starved the city, until clever Dame Carcass devised a trick to make the enemy believe they still had plenty. They say her spirit still walks the walls at dusk, a whisper of cunning. This was a stronghold of the Cathars who defied kingdoms, their final stand a legend of faith and fire. One feels the weight of countless footsteps, of sentinels who watched for armies crossing the plains. Listen in the courtyards, and you might hear the ghostly clash of swords from battles turned to dust. It is said a treasure lies hidden deep within the oldest stones, guarded by the patience of the ages. To walk here is to trace the outline of a dream. Every stone holds a secret, every tower a memory of a siege weathered. This is a chronicle of endurance, where the air is thick with spirits. Legends speak of tunnels winding far beneath, escape routes for nobles, or passages for something older and more mysterious. Time here moves differently, measured in the slow erosion of rock and the enduring will to stand defiant. Here, where the air grows thin, Chamonix rests in the mighty shadow of Mont Blanc. For centuries, this was a realm of whispered fears, of dragons sleeping within glaciers and spirits riding avalanches. They called the high peaks the accursed mountains, a forbidden domain. Then came the seekers of glory, men who bet their lives against the mountain's wrath to stand upon the roof of Europe. Their names are etched in legend, but the mountain remembers only the wind. This town became a gateway to human triumph over the sublime. Tales are told of climbers vanished into storms, their voices in the creak of the ice, and guides who read the mountain like a holy book. Every rockfall echoes ancient battles between stone and time. Now, cable cars trace paths of pioneers, carrying breathless awe. Yet the true story is older, written in glacial scars and the patience of snow. To listen is to hear the mountain's slow, eternal breath, a history of elemental force. Chamonix is a testament to the spirit drawn to the edge of the world, humbled before the sleeping dragon. Dinan does not merely stand. It broods upon its cliff, a solemn guardian of the river and time. Centuries ago, knights loyal to a besieged duchess charged from these very gates, their fate written in the stones beneath your feet. But older whispers persist, tales of forest spirits woven into the Celtic knots of the carvings, watching from the dark oak beams. The ramparts are not just walls. They are the town's memory, a stony spine holding the past upright against the wind. Merchants and monks, sailors and weavers, their ghosts are in the cobblestone grooves, in the echo of a craftsman's hammer from a hidden workshop. Listen closely to the silence at the heart of the clock tower. It is the pause between the heartbeats of history. To walk here is to walk through a story still being told, where every overhanging house leans in to share a secret. Legends say the river below carries more than water. It carries the reflections of every ship that ever sought refuge here, a flotilla of phantoms on the tide. And in the deep lanes, you feel it, the slow, patient breath of a place that has seen empires rise and fall, yet kept its soul behind locked gates and quiet courtyards. The Loire Valley is a land where history is woven into the very stone. In a time of kings, Chenonceau became a stage for a silent war between two powerful women, their rivalry echoing in its galleries. It is said one spirit still walks, a faint scent of perfume on the air. At colossal Chambord, a king dreamed a palace so vast it would mirror the heavens. Its legendary double helix staircase designed, some whisper, by the very hand of Leonardo da Vinci. But whose spirit lingers in these stones? Perhaps that of the restless queen. Time here is not a line, but a deep, slow river. Listen to the wind. It carries whispers of courtly intrigues and forgotten vows. Battles were decided in these halls, loves declared, betrayals sealed with a silent nod. This garden of France is a kingdom of whispers, where every ancient wall holds a secret, waiting patiently for a listening ear. Rochefort-en-Terre stands as a living chronicle of stone, where every lane whispers a different century. Centuries ago, mighty lords built their fortress upon this rock, their rivalries writing local history in blood and iron. Their ambitions were as deep as the castle's dungeons. Legends tell of a treasure buried in a forgotten siege, waiting in a secret chamber for a sign known only to the moon. A white lady walks the ramparts at dawn, a spirit from a love story that ended in betrayal. Later, artists were drawn by the gentle magic of light upon ancient walls and the profound quiet. A painter, trying to capture the village's soul at midnight, saw faces in the stone on his canvas he had never seen by day. The old stones remember everything. The clatter of horseshoes, the fervent prayers from a chapel now silent. This beauty is a pact between generations who chose to preserve the echo of footsteps on cobblestones. So walk softly, for you tread on layers of dreams, of battles lost and won, of ordinary lives that built this fairy tale in stone. 1,349 characters. Paris, the eternal city, has never been merely stone and river. Beneath its grand boulevards, whispers of forgotten revolutions still cling to the cobblestones. Centuries ago, a queen, hearing the mob's roar, walked these palace halls to a grim appointment with the blade. Her ghost is said to wander, a silent witness to the city's thirst for both beauty and blood. Its cathedrals are lungs of living history, breathing tales of faith and survival. Long ago, a hunchback found sanctuary within those sacred walls, his love a secret etched into the very gargoyles that watched over him. The wind through the rose windows carries his unanswered sigh. Every bridge across the Seine is a stage for human drama. Artists, penniless and glorious, once traded masterpieces for a meal in shadowed cafes. Their dreams, now priceless legends. Philosophers debated beneath these very lamps, their words igniting fires that would change the world. And from its iron lattice, a tower was born, declared a monstrosity, only to become the city's defiant soul reaching for the sky. Paris teaches a profound truth, that today's rebellion becomes tomorrow's cherished monument. It is not a place one simply visits, but a grand, endless story in which you, for a moment, are allowed to breathe. A coastline where whispers of silver screen legends linger in the salty breeze. Where stories are written not in stone, but in the light that dances on the waves. Centuries ago, this shore was a strategic prize. Saracen seafarers raided these coves, leaving tales of treasure buried deep within the cliffs. Some say their gold still sleeps in the grottos, guarded by spirits older than the hills. This was a rugged land of farmers, far from glamour. Its transformation began with a train ride. The Russian aristocracy, seeking winter sun, discovered a paradise of gentle light. They built magnificent winter villas and planted exotic gardens. Then came the painters, chasing the light, immortalizing the Riviera's hues. Their footsteps were traced by writers, spinning tales of romance under the endless sun. Finally, the silver screen arrived, weaving magic and cementing a legend. But legends are born of the human spirit's desire to leave a mark. To seek solace, to find inspiration, to become part of a light that has captivated hearts for generations. Provence is a land painted by the sun and perfumed by lavender and thyme. Centuries ago, Roman legions marched here, leaving behind mighty arenas where the roar of the crowd once shook the very earth, now silent but for the whispering wind. Legends say that in the deep gorges, spirits of the Cathars, a people persecuted for their faith, still wander the shadows of their mountain fortresses. Great battles for faith and crown were waged upon these fields, where the soil, now so gentle, once drank deeply of blood and ambition. It is a landscape that seems to breathe with history, where every weathered stone and ancient olive tree holds a story. They say the fierce mistral wind does not just blow. It carries the voices of forgotten kings, troubled artists, and rebellious saints across the hills. In a small room in Arles, a tormented genius once stared at the swirling stars, and his vision forever changed how we see the night sky. To walk here is to feel the weight and the lightness of time, where empires turned to dust, but beauty remained. The true magic is not just in the vibrant colors, but in the deep, quiet pulse of memory that beats beneath them. Provence teaches that to live well is to live slowly, savoring each moment like a ripe fruit, under a light that has enchanted souls for generations. Strasbourg rests where two great rivers of culture have long converged. Its stones whisper of a contested past, a prize passed between empires in a centuries-old dance. Legends say the devil, tricked by a cunning wind, helped build the cathedral's single spire in one night, fleeing at dawn's first bell. That spire became a stone needle threading heaven. Beneath gabled roofs, secret passages once carried whispers of heresy through the shadows. They tell of a spectral piper who walks the canals on misty nights, his silent melody a lament for a plague-stricken city. Yet from this strife, a unique spirit was woven, profoundly Alsatian. Ghosts of guildsmen linger in the scent of gingerbread and fermenting grapes. Men once fought for these lanes. Now, in halls of glass and steel, they debate a continent's peace. Time here is a deep, still wine, holding the tannins of conflict and the bouquet of resilience. Every December, as 1,000 lights awaken, the city becomes a lantern against the winter dark, an ancient promise kept for over 400 years. Strasbourg does not forget. It transforms memory into stone, into law, into light. Colmar rests along its tranquil canals like a page from an illuminated manuscript. But these waters hold whispers of a much older, sterner time. Centuries ago, they ran red with the conflict between empire and faith as the city became a fortress in the 30 Years' War. Legends say spirits of besieged soldiers still walk the cobbles on misty mornings. Its half-timbered houses seem plucked from a storybook. Within their beams, tales are carved of merchants who grew wealthy on wine and cloth. One myth speaks of a weaver who, in his grief, wove a tapestry so beautiful it trapped the soul of spring within the old town forever. Through these streets marched revolutionaries and soldiers of countless armies, each leaving ghosts in the attics. The stones remember the heavy tread of boot and the silent hope of those who hid. Here, beauty is a gentle mask over a deep and layered past. Time is not a line, but a slow eddy in the river loch. It is the memory of vintners blessing their barrels, of whispered secrets in tavern cellars. Colmar does not merely show you history. It allows you to feel its enduring, fragile breath. 1,355 characters. Brittany is a land where the sea writes legends upon granite cliffs, and the wind carries the echoes of 1,000 years. Centuries ago, mighty lords in fortified castles ruled this rugged peninsula, their names now whispered in the tales of Arthur and the sunken forest of Ys. Here, the stones themselves remember. They are the dolmens of ancient druids and the calvaries where saints and sinners are frozen in silent stone prayer. This is a realm defined by the relentless ocean, a nursery for explorers, and a grave for countless ships. Hardy fishermen for generations have braved the treacherous currents, their wives keeping vigil from the pink granite coast, watching for sails that might never return. In later centuries, young men from these very shores embarked on a different kind of crossing, their blood forever mingling with the sand on distant, fateful beaches. The true soul of Brittany, however, beats in the persistent heart of its Celtic heritage, a culture that refused to be erased. It lives in the haunting melody of the bombard, in the intricate knots of embroidery, and in the language that clung to life like lichen on cathedral walls. It is a spirit of fierce independence, born from the understanding that land and sea are not just a home, but a formidable, defining force. Perched like a stone crown upon its hill, Gordes gazes across time as much as landscape. Centuries ago, fierce lords held this fortress village, their banners snapping in the mistral as they guarded the valleys below. Whispers say their spirits still walk the cobbles, restless from forgotten battles and betrayed alliances. Later, it became a refuge, its labyrinth of vaulted passages and cellars hiding those fleeing plague and war, their prayers etched into the very stone. This is a place that does not simply exist in history. It is woven from it. Listen to the wind through the narrow lanes. It carries echoes of market chatter from 100 years past and the sighs of stonecutters who shaped this majesty. Legends cling to the terraced slopes. Tales of hidden treasure buried during times of terror, still waiting in the dark earth. To stand here is to feel the immense weight of generations. Every weathered wall holds a secret. Every silent courtyard, a completed story. Gordes does not boast. It simply endures, a monumental testament to all who sought shelter, power, or beauty on this commanding height. Bordeaux stands as a kingdom built on the vine. Centuries ago, merchants grew wealthy from this dark, sacred river, their fortunes flowing in barrels across oceans. Yet whispers linger of older debts, paid in blood, when the very streets ran red with more than wine. The grandeur you feel is a monument to that age of elegance and power. Legends speak of a sleeping giant beneath the city, its heartbeat the slow pulse of the deep cellars, guarding vintages older than nations. Some say the wind carries the arguments of long-dead philosophers and the sighs of lovers parted by war. To walk here is to move through a library of air and light. Tales tell of alchemists who sought the perfect vintage, believing a sublime wine could capture a moment of time itself. Listen for the ghostly echo of a royal toast, or the silent pact between a winemaker and his unforgiving land. Here, time is measured in harvests, and legacy is bottled. They say the river holds the reflections of every ship that ever sailed from here, a phantom fleet carrying the spirit of the region into the world. The true treasure was never just the wine, but the patience, the hope, and the countless quiet lives poured into every glass. The Dune of Pilat is a monument not built by human hands, but by the patient, relentless breath of the Atlantic. Centuries ago, this entire coast was a kingdom of forests, until the winds and waves conspired to bury it beneath a wandering mountain of sand. Locals whisper that on quiet nights, you can hear the ghosts of drowned pine trees groaning beneath your feet, trapped in their sandy tomb. They speak of a village, swallowed whole in a storm-lashed generation, its chimneys and memories sealed under the dune's golden shroud. This is a landscape in perpetual motion, a slow-motion wave forever cresting, swallowing footprints and histories with equal indifference. Some say the dune itself is a sleeping giant, shifting with each dream, and to climb it is to walk upon the back of a slumbering god. Fishermen tell of phantom lights seen from the sea, guiding ships to ruin, perhaps the last lanterns of the lost village. To stand at its peak is to feel the raw power of nature's will, a humbling force indifferent to maps or memory. The wind here carries old voices, stories of battles between the forest and the sea, with the dune as the ever-moving front line. It is a lesson in impermanence, a magnificent reminder that the earth is never still, and that even the greatest monuments are but whispers in the wind. Annecy is a postcard brought to life by water and stone. But beneath its flower-draped surface, this Venice of the Alps holds older, colder currents. Centuries ago, its island palace was not a picture, but a prison, its thick walls echoing with the whispers of forgotten souls. They say the lake itself guards secrets. Its turquoise clarity, a perfect mask for depths where time stands still. Legends speak of a darker age, when fear flowed through these very canals. In shadowed chambers, final judgments were passed, and the spirits of the accused are said to linger in the mist that rises from the water at dawn. The mountains that cradle this beauty have witnessed countless silent dramas, their peaks eternal sentinels. Yet life persisted fiercely here. Merchants and counts, prisoners and lovers, all walked these cobbles, their stories absorbed by the ancient mortar. To wander here is to feel the delicate balance between human grace and alpine might, between the serenity of the lake and the whispered thrill of history's untold. Annecy doesn't just show you beauty. It lets you feel the gentle, chilling breath of the past upon your neck. Versailles is the ultimate monument to a king's dream of absolute power. Here, secrets whispered behind fans, born in the sacred space between a murmured word and a formal bow. A queen, Marie Antoinette, sought escape in a rustic hamlet, a poignant legend of a soul trying to breathe within suffocating privilege. The mirrors reflected infinite light and countless intrigues, each a silent witness to the fragile dance of favor. Consider the very air, thick with powdered wigs and anticipation. Every footstep was a calculated statement, every silence a weapon. The gardens are a geometric conquest of nature, fountains dancing to music for a single Sun King's pleasure. Yet, even these orderly groves held shadows where clandestine meetings unfolded. Legends say ghosts of courtiers still linger, forever bound to the grandeur they served, echoes of desperate ambition and exquisite boredom. This palace is ambition so vast it became a prison, where architecture dictated the rhythm of the heart. That world, enraptured by its own reflection, was unaware the wind of revolution was stirring, a faint sigh from Paris growing to a roar. Now we hear only the legend, a cautionary tale of light and its long shadow. Lyon rests in the cradle of two powerful, ancient rivers. But its true wealth flowed through quieter, darker channels. Centuries ago, secret traboules wound beneath the city, where silk weavers, the canuts, whispered of rebellion. Their ghosts are a murmur in the stone, a memory woven into the slopes of Coirou. Long before them, on Riviera, a different empire held court. In the great Roman theaters, thousands gathered. Their cheers are now just an echo carried by the wind across empty stone. Spirits of actors and senators still wander, forever awaiting a performance that will never resume. This is a city of layers, where history is felt in the cool darkness of a hidden courtyard. And from these shadows emerged a kingdom of light, the kingdom of the table. The legendary Mère Lyonnaise conjured magic in their kitchens, founding a culinary dynasty. Their legacy is a different alchemy, transforming simple ingredients into feasts that defy time. So Lyon guards its treasures, not in vaults, but in the silence of ancient walls, the aroma from a bouchon's kitchen, and the spirits of weavers, legionaries, and chefs who decided that here, at the confluence, they would create something eternal. Riquewihr rests in its valley, a jewel preserved by vine. These cobblestones hold whispers older than wine, echoes from when walls were built for war. A mighty guild of winemakers rose here, their wealth building towers, their secrets guarded in deep cellars. They say the spirit of one, called Hans, still walks the lanes at harvest, ensuring the grapes are worthy. Legends tell of a siege, not by armies, but by a terrible winter wolf stalking frozen vineyards. The people prayed. From the forest came a great white stag to drive the beast away, a protector remembered in stone. Here, history is tasted. Each glass is a story of sun and soil, of generations who shaped this land. Think of all the feet that have worn these stones. The peasant, the merchant, the soldier never returning. In great wars, the village stood silent, its thick walls a mute witness to passing tides of fire. Today, the peace feels deep and earned, a gentle hum of life continuing its ancient rhythm. The true magic is this seamless thread, where medieval and modern vintners share the same sacred craft. It is a testament to endurance, a village that chose to remain itself, letting the world come to its timeless gate. (1,357 characters). Mont Saint-Michel rises from the sea like a fortress of dreams. Centuries ago, A bishop was commanded in a dream by the archangel Michael to build this sanctuary. They say the very first stone was placed upon a rock that the tide had miraculously cleared. For generations, monks sought God in the silence between these ancient walls, their whispers lost to the wind. Yet this is also a castle of war, its stones remembering sieges and the clash of swords. Legend tells of knights who held the walls against armies, their spirits perhaps still walking the ramparts. One feels the weight of countless footsteps that have worn these stones smooth. Listen, and you might hear the echo of pilgrims chanting from an age long past. There are tales of a labyrinth beneath the abbey, where secrets and treasures were hidden from the world. The sea itself is a character in this story, an eternal siege of waves and mist. So many lives have passed here, leaving only their stories woven into the stone. To stand here is to feel time itself, vast and patient, shaped by faith and human hands. It is a monument not just to heaven, but to the enduring spirit of those who built it, one legend upon another. Here, where the land defiantly meets the endless ocean, a spirit of wild grandeur hangs forever in the salt air. Centuries ago, this was not a place of leisure, but of daring and dread, where men of iron will set sail into the gray fury to hunt the great whales. Their ghosts are woven into the sea mist, their whispered prayers for a safe return carried on the same wind that once filled their sails. Later, an empress walked these cliffs, her heart and eyes set upon this raw beauty. And with a word, she transformed the fierce whaling village into a jewel for crowns. One can feel that sudden, opulent shift in history, the delicate silk brushing against the old, salt-stained ropes. But the bedrock remembers older tales of Basque people whose origins are a mystery lost to the waves, who spoke a language born from the earth itself. Legends say their strength was forged in these hills, that they were the first to defy the sea and claim its bounty. Every stone here is a page in a layered chronicle, where each era, the hunter, the monarch, the wanderer, has left its indelible mark. Listen closely to the hollow breath of the sea caves, and you might hear the echo of 1,000 forgotten names. Time, the great sculptor, uses only the tools of relentless water and patient wind, slowly turning all human endeavor into memory, and memory into myth. Marseille is not just a city, but a layered story written over millennia. Centuries ago, Greek sailors from far-off Phocaea beached their ships in this very cove, founding a trading post they called Massalia. Their ghosts are said to linger in the old port, whispering of salt and distant shores. Later, Roman legions marched through, and the clash of swords echoed where now there is silence. One can feel the weight of their ambition in the very stones. Legends speak of a great plague that once swept the city, a shadow passing over every home. In desperation, the people built a shrine upon the hill, a plea carved from their fear. The wind here carries more than the scent of the sea. It carries the breath of countless generations. It tells of merchants and pirates, of saints and sinners, all swallowed by time. Some say on certain nights, you can hear the mournful chants of galley slaves from the ancient docks. To stand here is to stand at the crossroads of history, where every empire of the Mediterranean left its mark. The true monument of Marseille is not in any single tower, but in this immense, living memory of the human spirit against the endless sea. Deep within the earth of Provence lies a canyon of impossible scale. Legends say the Verdon Gorge was carved by a dragon, its tail thrashing to create this abyss. But older tales, whispered from the very stone, speak of something else, a prison. For this is a fortress of nature, a chasm so profound it holds the sun itself at bay until the afternoon. Centuries ago, the Knights Templar are said to have sought refuge in these cliffs, guarding secrets too terrible for the surface world. And it is said they left something behind. Time and water have shaped these walls, but they were not carved by water alone. For in the silence of the gorge, one can still hear the echoes of ancient battles, the clash of steel, and the screams of fallen warriors. Their spirits linger, not in stone, but in the very wind that howls through the canyons. To stand here is to feel the weight of ages, the fleeting nature of man against the timeless might of the earth. It is a place where history bleeds into legend, and the line between the two is forever lost. Listen closely, and you may hear the whispers of the gorge itself. This land holds the echo of many names, a stone heart in the blue sea. Centuries ago, warriors from the sea, the Moors, came as conquerors to this rugged coast. Their galleys slipped silently into coves, a shadow over the morning. The Corsicans, fierce as the Maquis, met them on cliffs in battles where the rocks drank deep. Whispers claim the fallen were never buried, spirits bound to the howling wind. One feels the immense weight of time here, in layers of courage. Legends speak of a hidden treasure, not gold, but a sacred oath buried to protect from a coming darkness. The secret died with him, leaving a riddle in an old song, lost to the march of the pines. Nature is the true historian, patiently reclaiming every story. A Genoese tower stands sentinel against forgotten fleets and oblivion. Listen for the old watchman's murmurs, from a time when a beacon was a prayer. The silence is not empty. It is filled with the breath of the past, a chorus who knew only the law of the mountain and the mercy of the sea. (1,354 characters). Alsace, a land where France and Germany blur, not on maps, but in the soul of its people. Centuries of clashing empires echoed through its hills, a coveted prize fought over in countless wars. Yet beyond the battlefields, legends whisper of a deeper magic, a land steeped in folklore where every village holds its secrets. They say the very stones remember. Tales of storks nesting on chimneys, bearing luck and new life. And in the silent forests, stories of will-o'-the-wisps linger, leading travelers astray, or perhaps to something far more ancient. This is a realm of Christmas markets that twinkle like fallen stars, of a warmth that defies the biting winds. For here, even the cuisine weaves a tale, of choucroute steaming like a long-forgotten promise, of tarte flambée as fleeting as a midsummer's dream. Listen intently, and you may catch the echo of a language caught between two worlds. The gentle cadence of Alsatian, a dialect entirely its own. To stand in Alsace is to feel the weight of history, to touch the spirits of generations who molded this land with their hands, their hearts, and their blood. It is to comprehend that some boundaries are etched not in ink, but into the very soil, inscribed in the silent resilience of those who call it home. This village is the rock itself, a stone crown upon a coastal peak. Centuries ago, warriors built a fortress here, its shadow stretching across land and sea. The wind now whispers through archways that once carried battle cries and secret prayers. One feels the immense weight of history in these silent, sun-warmed walls. Legends say a labyrinth hides a treasure more valuable than gold, the forgotten knowledge of ancient alchemists. Their ghosts wander, not in search of wealth, but the moment they lost eternity. Tales speak of a lady of the castle, a figure of such sorrow, her spirit is woven into the sea mist. Her story is lost, but her longing remains, a permanent echo. Time here is a slow, grinding spiral. Empires rose and fell, merchants traded fortunes, and monks guarded secrets in these shadowed lanes. Listen for the faint chime of a merchant's scale, or the turning page of a forbidden manuscript. The grandeur we feel is not of ornament, but of endurance. Nature is the final conqueror, her roots prying apart masonry, her rains dissolving the mortar of ambition. The village surrenders, gracefully, back to the mountain from which it was carved. In this high silence, one understands oblivion is not an end, but a memory held by stone and sky. We walk where time breathes. A king built this realm on a star's promise, only to see it fall in a night of fire. Listen for that ghost, broken and scattered. The walls tell of glory and decay. Myths weave of a guardian beast sleeping below, its heart a buried gem. Some secrets live in the chill of a wrong shadow. Nature is the final historian, writing over our designs. Lovers met here, their vows stolen by the wind. Their fate is a thread left dangling. To be here is to touch oblivion. Battles raged for forgotten reasons, passions now cold as stone. Truth is a dried-up river, leaving only the bed of story. We feel small, yet linked to the chain of dreamers. Fairy tales warn, to remember is to carry the ghosts. But perhaps that is the gift, to be part of something vast and unfinished. We conclude with reverence for the question. Every end here is a beginning in another tale. The last secret? No endings, only layers waiting for the next listener. (1,349 characters).